Happy Sunday, everyone. Good afternoon. God is good. God is great. I hope everyone is having a blessed day today. That is all the glory goes to God, and we always have to be thankful and grateful for our lives, for our family, for our friends, roof over our head, everything that God provide for us. We always should be grateful for. It doesn't matter how things are big and small or good or bad in our life. We always have to give the glory and the praise to God. So I pray that everyone's having a blessed Sunday. And let's get right to it. Who killed Tupac and Biggie? Who killed them? So my thing is, we all believe what the news mainstream media, told us back in the 90s, 94, when Tupac was first got shot at Quad Studio in New York. And we believe that, it was a wrong place at the wrong time. Tupac Shakur was robbed. But my thing is, now looking back and seeing things more clearly now, if this was a robbery gone bad, okay, wouldn't they stole his $80,000 Rolex? Wouldn't they took money from him if he had cash on him? Instead, they just shot him 5 times. Now, at that time, I didn't know what to believe. At that time, I knew, according to the media, that it was a robbery or it was a gain related. That's what we were told. But then watching the documentary of the Reckoning on Netflix and doing my notes and reading this book, Kim's Lost Words, and what she had to say. And I know a lot of people are speculating this is not her words. She did not write this book. It couldn't be her. But my thing is, how do you know? How do you not know if that's not really her? And in reading this, okay, and watching the documentary, I put two and two together, and a lot of it makes sense, you guys, okay? And I'm going to read to you what she wrote. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to believe, oh, it couldn't be Kim. Kim couldn't do this. Kim couldn't write this. But you have to understand, Kim was in Diddy's world for a very long time. She's seen things that was inappropriate, that made her feel uncomfortable. But she just went along with it. Okay, something that she saw in Sean Combs' home in a vault, and she clearly states this in the book, that freaked her out. Freaked her out to the point that she made copies of it. Okay, made copies of it, and use it for her advantage when she wanted to get out of the relationship, because their relationship was on and off. You know what I mean? They never were married. They had 3 beautiful children together. But, as Sean Combs said in his own words in the documentary, he couldn't be a faithful guy. Okay. He was not a good boyfriend. He was a lousy boyfriend. He likes to have side pieces on the side. This man could never, ever be committed or faithful. Point blank, period. He liked to have his cake and eat it too. His words, not mine. Now, with that being said, she saw something that freaked her out, that made her feel uncomfortable, that made her feel that he should not be around kids, according to this book. Now, she used that tape, whatever she made copies for her advantage. The only downfall that she did that led up to her death, allegedly, because I believe that he had her killed. He killed Kim Porter because of what she said, that if you don't leave me alone, I'm just saying this verbatim, if you don't leave me alone and let me walk away, I'm going to use this tape against you, because I know, Sean, I know. So that freaked him out, and he didn't want his dirty little secret to get exposed. So what do you do when someone outed you out and exposed the stuff that you've been doing inappropriately, and you don't want the whole world to know? Because remember, this was in the 90s. Okay, this is not like right now that back then things were a little bit taboo. Now, and it freaked her out, and it led to her death. I believe that Sean Diddy Combs had Kim Porter killed because she knew too much, and she had something over him to use against him, just in case he didn't want to let her go. And he couldn't stand for that, because as you can see in the documentary, Sean Combs is very controlling, very manipulative. He likes to gaslight people. You can't leave his orbit. You know what I mean? Once you in, you cannot get out unless it's dead. unless you're dead. So I want to read this to you, and it's going to make sense. So I just want you to bear patient with me, and it's going to make sense for a circle. So this is chapter 6, Pac. When I met Pac, Sean and I had an open relationship, and yes, I slept with Pac. Shit was sexy. Excuse me. Sean didn't mind. Well, not until he tried to get Pac to join both of us. Pac was not good with that. This is where the relationship between them became strained. Pac wasn't going to accept Sean advances. Pac wasn't gay, and he was pissed about that advances. Pac appeared upset behind Sean's words, but Sean went for the kill, regardless. I think my D's bigger than yours. I bet I bet I can make her see, because I don't want to say that disgusting word, faster than you, but you get where I'm leading, where I'm getting at with this. What's up? Pac was appalled. What the F are you talking about, N? I ain't trying to run no effing train. Sean continued. What? You scared? You scared off? Let's see who F better. Let her be the judge. Puck shouted. And you talking about pulling your effing D out? Sean was undaunted. What? You scared? Puck simply left. Tension was building up between the both of them. The conversation, the effing studio alive. I don't think I was supposed to hear that. So something that Kim heard at the time about that led to the 1994, the first shooting of Tupac Shakur in that quad studio. I don't want him knowing I know anything. If he just put if he just put a hit on Pac, it was orchestrated, and Sean Puff Combs was the orchestrator. Now, think about this. Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, what he was calling himself at the time, called Tupac Shakur, hey, we're in New York, we're at the Quad Studio, Biggie's there, among other people's there, just link up and let's do some videos and stuff like that. He was down for it, you know what I mean? Because he was friends with Biggie. And of course, Tupac arrived at the Quad Studio, about to, reach the elevator, and next you know it, 5 shots was shot towards him. Okay, left him for dead. Now, to me, in my opinion, this was staged, this was orchestrated. You know what I mean? This was planned because I believe that Sean Diddy Combs noticed the friendship between Tupac and Biggie, how close they were, how they supported, and I took notes too, how they supported their careers and their relationship and how they represented each other mid 90s. And they were really initially were friends. And the thing is that I don't understand is that this was all led up to set Biggie up. Because again, Sean didn't like the fact that Biggie and Tupac were close. Sean didn't like the fact that Tupac wanted to work with Biggie just alone and not deal with Sean Combs. And it makes sense now because back then it didn't make sense. Just think about it. Why was at that time that Tupac was very hesitant or give Sean Combs pushback that he didn't want to work with him? Well, obviously he was giving advances towards Tupac, and Tupac was not down with that. He was not down having a threesome with Kim and him. Now, according to this book and according to Kim's words, that Kim and Tupac slept together because again, Kim said that Sean was open. They had an open relationship, and Pac was okay with sleeping with Kim. However, with that being said, he was not okay having sex with Sean and seeing his penis. Okay. Tupac was said, no, that's where I draw the line. You're gross. You're disgusting. Why would you do that? That's your girl and you trying to do that. Nah, I'm cool, bro. I'm cool. So that's why Tupac had a certain demeanor. That's what Tupac felt a certain type of way towards Sean Combs, because Sean Combs was kind of like that. You know what I mean? He was into women and he was into men. Let's just not be around the bush here. He was into both. Okay, now it's 2025. If that's how you flow, if that's rock your boat, then okay. You like men, you like women. He was basically bi. But back in those days in the 90s, it was very taboo. Taboo. But anyway, so that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Now I just want to read on. Oh, this is the next chapter. So I believe, okay, Tupac was set up that day in 1994, and I'm going to let you take a listen to the late Tupac Shakur in his own words. And this interview was back in 1994. This was the first interview since he got shot on that in that quad studio. And I have to warn you, there's a little rough language, and I'm just gonna let you listen to some of it because it's very long, and I just don't want to. I wouldn't say bored you, but it's very important for everyone to listen to Tupac's own words and how he felt behind the shooting and who he suspected may suspected who put a hit on him. So take a listen to what Tupac had to say, the late Tupac Shakur.
You think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
Only they can answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew. You know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you seen what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out and was going to go ahead about my life. The next issue, that wasn't even the next issue because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New York is commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first...
Pause. That's what they said initially, and he's right about that. Sean Combs, I'm going to call him Sean Combs because back in the day he had so many different names. Initially, Sean Combs said, we didn't see anything. We didn't know anything. We didn't know what about it. And then Tupac is correct. They were blasting it, advertising it. Oh, Tupac got shot at Quad Studio, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you didn't know about it, why would you say something about it? You know what I mean? It didn't make any sense. So it was very, very suspicious to Tupac. No, man, this was a direct hit on me to send a message because Sean Combs was very threatened with Tupac, of his career, his swag, everything about him, and also his friendship with Biggie. He was very threatened and scared, and he didn't want that. Sean Combs wanted full control, and he wanted to get rid of Tupac Shakur. Let him continue.
First issue, read it, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit. The 4th issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in their vision. I only got shot once because they found the bullet. The police found it, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work. They found the bullet. Oh, you found the bullet, huh? So what is this other shit in me then? What was the doctors talking about? What? Can you explain these other holes in me? How'd I get gunpowder all over me? That insulted my intelligence. So yes, I did say Thug Life was dead. Yes, I bowed out, all of that. But when they said that, they breathed new life in me. Yeah. And Thug Life not only became a rap group, but it became a way of life for life for me. Because they disrespected me, my name, my family, what I had been through. They said that I couldn't be in pain. I could not feel, I could not be hurt. In my moment of pain, when I was shot 5 times in jail for a crime I didn't commit, while every other black person, whoever they was fucking babies in the ass or killing bitches and cutting them in 50.
You can cut that out. So you get my point. You get the interview that he did and what he was saying. The rest was kind of a little more graphic in the language, so I just don't want to go any further than that. But with that being said, a lot of stuff that it's adding up. For example, okay, who are they? You know what I mean? Tupac Shakur, West Coast, California. Biggie, East Coast, representing Bad Boys. He's from Brooklyn, represent Brooklyn. And like I said initially, they were friends. They supported each other, their careers, and they appeared together. And there's videos of them together rapping with one another and everything. They were really, really good friends. And Pac really wanted to work with Biggie. Okay. Now, what this really takes precedence Okay, Sean wanted to work with Tupac, like I said, on a level business, but Tupac wasn't having it. Again, because I believe what Kim Porter wrote in this book, that Tupac was not down with that. Tupac did not want to be associated with Sean Combs. Tupac did not want to be near him, work with him, nothing like that, because he just knew that Sean Combs was really not a good guy, that he was really shady, not trustworthy. He was just not a really good person. And I believe that Tupac felt that, and he just wanted to be clear. What's the word? He wanted to stay away. He didn't want to be near that nonsense. Okay. Now, what really struck me, okay, about like the shooting of November 30th of 1994 at the Quad Studio. Okay. Again, why they say a robbery? Again, he had an $80,000 Rolex that wasn't stolen. Okay. Tupac was shot in New York. He knew he was going to be at the studio, and they all knew about it. And the funny thing is too, this is about Biggie, which I'm going to get into this. I'm sorry that I'm all over the place, but I'm just trying to go through my notes accordingly in order. And I just believe that the whole situation with the November 30th of 1994, it was all a setup, like I said, so Tupac could believe that Biggie has something to do with that first shooting when he really actually didn't. You know what I mean? I feel like Biggie was a setup, like the fall guy, for Tupac to be upset and Tupac to blame Biggie for his involvement of that shooting, when clearly Biggie had no idea what was going on. Biggie didn't even plan this at all. It was all Sean Combs doing. Was allegedly, even though there's proof in the pudding that he actually orchestrated that hit on Tupac for sure. It's just evidence. It's clear like night and day that he really set Tupac up to murder him. But luckily he lived. After 5 bullets in his body, he lived. He lost a testicle, okay? But he lived by the grace of God. He lived throughout those 5 bullets, and he survived. And what really, really made the East Coast, West Coast beef is when Tupac did a rap video about Notorious B.I.G.'s wife, Faith Evans, that he slept with his wife. Now, I don't know if that's really true, if Tupac really slept with Faith Evans. I know at the time they were still married, but separated. She was pregnant with Biggie Small's kid. But that video really pissed Sean Diddy Combs. It really upsetted Biggie too, but not to the point that Sean Combs wanted to escalate it and retaliate. You know what I mean? I feel like Biggie was just more laid back, and he just wanted everything to die down. He didn't want the whole beef with the West Coast and the East Coast upon Sean Combs. He wanted Big to be upset, to hype things up, to be angry, to be upset, and to retaliate. And Biggie didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? Even though Biggie was upset about Tupac's music, that he said that he had sex with his wife, and Faith Evans at the time made it very clear in one of her interviews that it didn't happen. She very much loved her husband and is carrying his child, that it never happened. Now, and that's when the whole beef started, okay? And like I said, it was all orchestrated by Sean Combs. It was all his plan from the start. And it just makes so much sense now. And I have to say, between Tupac and Biggie, they have so much things in common than we realize. For example, an absent father. Okay, they didn't have a father that raised them. They had a single mother that raised them. Okay, they were out in the street selling drugs. They both went to jail at one point in their life, and they're both rappers, notorious good rappers. You know what I mean? Like, made great music, like greatness. Okay, with Tupac, I Get Around, Brenda, with Notorious B.I.G., Juicy. I'm trying to think of, I should know more of his music because I have all their CDs. Juicy, Life After Death album. I'm trying to think of more on top of my head. One More Chance, the remix. You name it. They both were amazing rappers. And on top of that, they died at the age of 24. So they have more things in common than we realize. You know what I mean? And they died at such a young age. The only difference is they had different labels. You know what I mean? One was Death Row, one was Bad Boy Records. words. That was the only difference. But other than that, everything else is very similar. You know what I mean? They came from different backgrounds and different worlds, but some of their personality and characteristics were the same, basically. And it's so sad and unfortunate that these two men were killed by one particular person who orchestrated all this over money, over fame, over selfishness. That's Sean Combs. He's a selfish SOB. He only care about himself. And we all thought about this murder mystery that, there was gang members related, that there was gangs involved. But clearly now in 2025, it was all orchestrated. It was all set up and planned by Sean Diddy Combs. Allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, because, watching the documentary with the Crips and stuff like that, Sean Combs knew some of these gang members. You know what I mean? Even though Sean Combs did not pull the trigger himself, because he's a coward. Okay, he's a coward. He wouldn't do it himself. But he paid, some gang members to make that happen. He paid them a lot of money. And it also says it in Kim's word as well, which I'm going to read to about what happened to Biggie, because it just makes more sense. It's more apparent, and there's clarity about that. Now, obviously, I told you he was insanely jealous of Biggie and Pac's friendship, like I mentioned. What else did I wrote down? Because I wrote down a lot of notes, and there's no way I can remember everything in my head. So now the second shooting of Tupac Shakur that happened in Vegas. Okay, apparently before this shooting went down, that someone from Bad Boys was trying to rob someone from the Death Row artist. They had this type of necklace, and I guess the robber was told specifically, you have to steal this Death Row necklace. Why this Death Row necklace? And that happened. And then when they went to the Mike Tyson Las Vegas boxing match, someone told Tupac in his ear, this is the person that tried to rob me. Obviously, Tupac got upset. A fight happened. A fight broke out and everything. And then next you know it, Tupac got shot. This time he's dead. And this is the vehicle where he got shot. As you can see, the bullet holes and everything. Suge was in the vehicle. Luckily, he survived the shots and everything. But unfortunately, the late rapper Tupac Shakur, he died, which is just extremely sad. And it's just heartbreaking that that happened because over one man selfishness. Now, obviously, in 2006, Greg Hadding, a former LAPD detective, was investigating this cold case, because now it's a cold case. But now I feel like they're going to reopen the case, because from that documentary, The Reckoning, and what people have, this one guy I mentioned, Keith D, who was from the Crip. Okay, and there was a never before footage that I heard that he basically confessed that he had his involvement of killing Tupac Shakur, that he had a conversation with Sean Diddy Combs, that Keith D nephew was in the Crip too, but he passed away. So I feel like they're going to open this case and investigate, because now they might not pin this, but now Sean Combs may be charged of this, because I know that Keedy, he's on trial until next year, and he's basically probably going to testify against Sean Combs that he probably is the one who ordered the hit. Not quite sure, but that could be the case. But take a listen to this. March 1997, 6 months after Tupac Shakur murder, Sean took Biggie to LA to record a Life After Death album. Now, they were not welcome there, okay? They were warned that they don't want Biggie or Sean Combs to ever set foot in Los Angeles. But Sean Combs didn't really care. He didn't care about the risk, and he told Biggie, you have to go to LA, even though Biggie was very adamant and scared that he did not want it to go, but he went anyway. So on March 7, 1997, Soul Train Music Awards, Sean wanted Biggie to promote his album. Biggie didn't want to go to LA, but Sean Obviously, you know how Sean is. He's very swag. He's good with his words. He convinced Biggie to go, and he went. Okay. Now, on March 8th, 1997, that was a Saturday, Biggie was planned to go to London to promote and do interviews for the Life After Death album and do a day press in Europe to promote it. Then Sean told Biggie, no, we need you go. We need you to stay. Why is that? I couldn't understand why he was pressing Biggie to stay in LA opposed to going to London, which he originally wanted Biggie to go to London to promote his Life After Death. It didn't make sense to me until I read this chapter of Kim's Lost Words, and then things were starting to add up. Things started to make sense to me, which I'm going to read to you. And that's how I believe how Sean Diddy Combs orchestrated Biggie's death. So take a listen to what to this chapter, what Kim had to say in her own words. Wait, I have it. There we go. Now this is chapter 9, going back to Cali, and I'm not going to read you the whole thing. I'm just going to read what I highlighted, what was very specific to me that makes sense. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. So here we go. Let's see. Sean was getting Sean just getting to the real reason that he had XXX there. Now, until this day, I do not know who XXX is. I have a theory XXX is probably one of the gang member from the Crips. That's just what I assume, because obviously Kim did not name, didn't give a name specifically. She just put XXX, and but we don't know who XXX. I just believe it's probably one of the gang members from the Crips. But let me just go back to this, because this makes more sense. This makes more clarification of this. What the hell is going on here? What did Sean want from me? This morning turned out to be more than I expected. I have to go. Quincy will be looking for me. Meanwhile, XXX appeared, wanted clarity. So, to be clear, if something happened, XXX made quotation marks with his fingers to one of your artists that was leaving your label anyway. Now, we all knew, that Notorious B.I.G. Biggie Smalls wanted to leave Bad Boy Records, okay? Now, it seemed like the word got back to Sean Combs, and Sean Combs got very upset, because once you're into Sean Combs' orbit, he won't let you go, because you're making money from him. He's making money from you, He's profiting his artists, and he's not even paying his artists. How disgusting and gross is that? You get what I'm saying? So when word got back to Sean Combs that Biggie Smalls was thinking about leaving the label, obviously Sean Combs didn't like that. He was not having that, because that was his bread and butter. That was his bread and butter, you guys. You know what I mean? Because Notorious B.I.G. was making him money, Bad Boy money, among other artists too that he abused. So, where was I? It would be considered he makes other sets of quotation marks out of your control. Is what you're saying? Wait a minute. Can they be talking about Biggie? Is Sean saying he won't protect Biggie? At this point, I was too young, too naive, and too hungover to understand that this was not a lack of protection. This was a hit. Where did this come from this morning? But an older, wiser me understands now what I did not compel all those years ago. Sean just getting to the real reason that he had XX there. The word was about to lose Biggie. XXX laugh. You are a cold motherfucker, Sean said. Why the fuck should I protect someone that isn't going to stick around? I made him. That end should be worshiping the ground I effing walk on. You see, the arrogance, the smugs, like everything is about Diddy. And as you can see by watching that documentary, we all can see the arrogance, the smug, the cockiness. You know what I mean? Like this man videotapes himself all day long. Okay. And I'm thinking to myself, if you have done bad things to people, right? And you are a criminal in closed doors, why would you tape yourself? Why would you have evidence lying around? That's like R. Kelly. That's like Jeffrey Epstein, Sean Diddy Combs, all these manipulators, all these, these people, because they're so arrogant thinking that they won't get caught. So you can just videotape yourself, say all these incriminal things in front of the video, thinking you're not going to get caught. You know what this reminds me of? Serial killers. What do serial killers do? They collect items. They collect memorabilia. You know what I mean? They collect things like trophies, thinking that they're not going to get caught. I'm just saying, if I was a deranged criminal and I've done some illegal activities, you think I'm going to have evidence lying around just in case that might be used against me? Of course not. I wouldn't use tapes. I wouldn't record myself. This is not like back in the 80s and the 90s. We didn't have social media like we have now. You get what I'm saying? So what you did back in those days, you would never get caught because there was nothing to expose yourself with. You know what I mean? Opposed to now. And I don't understand this. And that's the point that I'm getting, the arrogance, the smug, you know what I mean? Thinking that they're too good of getting caught. So they keep all these trophies, they do all these videos of themselves and other people thinking that they're not going to get caught, or thinking that the people that recording them may not use it against them. Well, think again. People use things to blackmail other people. Why? For money. Why? For leverage. Why? For power. It's just, I don't get it. Some people just don't have common sense. Anyway, continuing on. And then this goes, I want to see. Okay, so I was thinking, Sean Ego is reeling its ugly head, and I wanted to get out of there, but instantly told me I needed to thread carefully. So my next move had to be calculated. I don't really want any part of this, not even implicating, but I was just dragged right into the middle of it. If what was happening here ever comes out, I will be held as an accomplice. But even as those thoughts crossed my mind, I couldn't just pretend this was okay. So I said, but Sean, he hasn't left yet, meaning Biggie. There are just rumors. Are you going to let him die because of some rumors? Sean blade at me, the anger in his voice obviously steaming from hurt as he said, I know when I am being betrayed. I am not killing anyone, but I am not protecting somebody that doesn't have my back 150%. F that. This was railing out of control. My mind began to race. This, is there a way to get through to him? Maybe I couldn't use the finance. Maybe I can use the finance route. Sean, he is bringing so much money, which is true. He was bringing money, lots of money. You put so much money into accommodating him. Are you going to throw away all that money? That had been revealed how, that's when he revealed how thought out this meeting really was. If he leaves, he takes all the money I invested into creating him. Sean cites, but if he cannot protect himself and something terrible does happen, then the money I would make off of his debt would blow away all the money we made so far. He continues, he's worth more to me dead than alive. Sean Combs is a calculated monster. XXX charms in, excuse me. I get that family. A lot of people out there want Biggie dead too. Without your protection, he doesn't stand a chance in Cali. Biggie's going to die. This is crazy. I dare not say anything else about it. Sean smiles and stands to walk over to a safe. Behind a picture, there he pulls a bag marked with XXX name. He turns to XXXX and says, that's why you are worth every weight in gold. You understand me? Here's a little something for you to take care of my people. Now, what Sean meant by that, my people, does he met that? Did he mean by the Crips family, the Crips gang? Because it seemed like he was paying XXX a whole lot of money to make this hit happen towards Biggie Small. That's what I'm reading, and that's what I'm concluding in this book. I could be wrong, but please let me know if I'm wrong about this. Then it continues, XXX smile. Sean, I love you, baby. You know I got your back. Your problems are my problems. I make sure to have my people take care of your people. I need to get out of here. That's what Kim Porter said. This is crazy. I attempted to leave again. Sean, I want to get to Quincy before he wakes up. Sean looked at me, responding, it's getting late. Give him a kiss for me, and I'm going to get out of here. Thank God. Then XXX always with something to say. I love to meet the little ticker sometime. Not a chance in hell. Something about this guy creeps me out. I force a smile. That will be great. I made my exit. So apparently, when Kim Porter was alive, something freaked her out about this XXX guy that gave her the creeps. Okay, that gave her the creepy jeebies, and she wanted to get the F out of there, which she did. Okay, so what that tells you, you guys, that apparently it seemed like there was a hit towards Biggie Small. Okay. And Sean knew that, if this man is going to leave the record label and leave Bad Boy Record, then no, I'm not having it. He's making me money. So it seemed like he's going to make more money while he's dead. And that's what Sean was planning all along, to kill Biggie Small. And take a listen to the late B.I.G., how terrified and scared that he was that he was going to die, that he felt paranoid that someone was trying to kill him. And he had no idea the closest friend that he trusted ended his life. So take a listen to what Biggie Small had to say.
Every day is real. That's how real it is. I think somebody's trying to kill me. I'll be waking up paranoid. I'll be really scared. I'll just be paro. That's just the way I am. You know. You seeing me? Scared to death.
And you can just tell that he looked scared. He looked scared just the way he was talking and everything. And he was scared to death. He was scared to death that someone was trying to kill him. And sure enough, it was Sean Diddy Combs that orchestrated his murder, his death. 24 years old. Life cut so short, and he had his whole life ahead of him. He had his children. I know he was like in and out with his marriage with Faith Evans, but still, you know what I mean? No person's life should be cut so short over money. But Sean Combs didn't care about that. He didn't. And now everything is coming to the light. Everything that makes sense now, you guys. It really, truly does, because it didn't make sense back in the day, because I just assumed it was a gang member. I was assuming it was just, the West Coast and the East Coast beef. You know what I mean? When clearly that wasn't the case. It wasn't. The main denominator was Sean Combs. He's the one who started this whole thing. He was over jealousy, over a friendship, over a bond that he saw with Biggie Small and Tupac. So my theory is that Sean Combs has something to do with it. Yes, I'm going to say it. Yes, because the proof is in the pudding. From that documentary on Netflix, The Reckoning, and for what I have seen online and what I jot down, and from Kim's lost words, everything is adding up. Everything is making sense. Okay, it's like 1 + 1 is 2. So no one can tell me otherwise. You know what I mean? It just makes more sense. It's more apparent that he has something to do with it. And I hope and pray that they do open this cold case again and do the investigation and tie Sean Diddy Combs to the death of Tupac Shakur and the notorious B.I.G. So then they can add more years to this man's sentences, that he will never, ever leave out of prison ever again, because this man does not deserve to be out in the population with everyone else because he doesn't care about the people. As you can see, it's all about him. It's all about Sean Combs and his selfishness. He doesn't care about the people at all. It make it seem like he does because he has that face. He has that persona. He's basically two-faced. Okay, he can't even be himself. He has to pretend to be someone else instead of his true self. And I'm sorry, I believe this is Kim's words. I believe that he put his hands on Kim Porter. Okay, because let me tell you something. If you can put your hands on your mother and slap your mom and call your mom a bitch, and what he did to Cassidy in that elevator in LA, what make you think he didn't hurt her? What make you think he didn't hit and abuse other women? This man has a pattern here. So no one can tell me otherwise. This is not Kim's words. But no one doesn't want to believe it. Okay, they just want to believe, oh, Kim could never do that. How do you know? Maybe she didn't want to tell anyone. Maybe she didn't want anyone to get involved because she knew the type of person that Sean Diddy Combs is. And she took the risk. Okay? Just imagine if she told other people. People would have been involved. The man tapped her phone. The man followed her. Okay? That's how psychopath he is. That's what psychopaths do. Criminals. They follow you. They tap your phones. They watch what you say, what you do. He just want to possess and control people. That's what Sean Combs does. Okay. So what makes you think that Kim didn't write this book? She wanted to protect people. So I believe in my hearts and hearts that she wrote this book. I believe in my hearts and heart that Sean Diddy Combs put his hands on Kim Porter and among other women in his life. Okay. He has a pattern here. Obviously, he was not raised by a man. He did not raised by his father, Melvin. He died. Okay. He never had a father figure. He never had a father figure to tell him from right from wrong, but telling him you should never ever put your hands on a woman. You should treat a woman like a queen. How you treat your mother, you should treat your woman like that. He never been taught that way. He'd been taught the opposite. So when you don't have a role model or a father figure in your life, what do you expect a man like that to do? He emulates other rappers, other men to treat women badly, poorly, disrespectfully. Like a woman should bow down to him. And that's it. That's not how it works. You know what I mean? And that's really messed up how of his childhood. And I know his mother did the best that she can, of raising a boy. But when it's hard for a single woman because you need a father figure. A woman can do so much. A mother can do so much by raising a son. But a son does need a father, just like a daughter needs a mother. You know, you need both parents, whether they're in the picture or not. Both parents need to guide their children. And he didn't have that guidance. He didn't have that substance. He didn't. He just was raised by his mom that if you get bullied, if you get picked, then you got to defend yourself. And the stuff that he was exposed to as a young age, thought that was proper, thought it was good. And at one point when he was at Uptown Intern, he didn't do drugs. He didn't drink alcohol. And I believe when he met Clive Davis, something changed. That's just my suspicious. That's just the feeling that I'm getting. Once Clive Davis helped him to start Bad Boy Records, something shifted. Something happened there. Because again, he didn't drink, he didn't do drugs. He was very, very opposed to it. And then something happened to him. Okay? So that's all I have to say about that. Again, it's just sad how the media portrayed that that there was no involvement, meaning that there was no involvement in Tupac's murder and Biggie. There was no connection. Clearly there was a connection, but again, we believe what the media was telling us. We didn't get the whole factual truth until decades later. Okay, and now it's making sense. It's making a whole lot of sense now. And like I said, I hope and pray that they reopen the case. They really do, because Tupac Shakur, I forgot to mention this too in my opening statement, that he was shot in Vegas on September 7, 1996. He died days later at the age of 25, shot multiple times in the chest. He couldn't survive that. You know what I mean? He survived the first shooting, but he didn't survive the second one. Notorious B.I.G. killed in Los Angeles, March 9th, 1997, also at the age of 24. Okay, similar unsolved drive-by shooting. So in Vegas, drive-by shooting, and Los Angeles, drive-by shooting. Okay, it's not a coincidence. I'm sorry. I don't like coincidence. Okay, everything it seemed like is a pattern. September, then March. So 96, 97. So nothing is a coincidence, you guys. Nothing is a coincidence. And I am, again, Netflix, The Reckoning documentary is number one. And I give kudos to 50 Cent, the executive director, Alexandra Stapleton. No, excuse me. 50 Cent's the executive producer, Alexandra Stapleton, the director. I give them kudos. I give them kudos. And now they're getting mad. Now Sean Combs are getting mad because you're being exposed. You're being exposed that the whole world see who you really are. Sorry, but not sorry. Now people know who you really are. Now people actually see what you were capable of back in those days and now. You know what I mean? It's catching up to him because he got away with a lot of things. He got away with murder, basically. Okay, even though his hand was not in the trigger, but he got away with a lot of things. And now it's catching up. And like I keep saying, when you hide things in the dark and when you don't tell the truth, God is going to bring it to the light. And God has brought it to the light, to the whole world. And I'm sorry, Sean Diddy Combs has his day now. Has his day now. Okay, you can't just be doing things to people, hurting people, assaulting women, drugging women, doing all this and stealing from people that work so hard to produce music for you, and you end up not paying them. They put their blood, sweat, and tears, sacrificing, not spending time with their family and their friends to produce music for you, and you have the audacity not to pay them, and they should just be working for free. Boy, bye. He's crazy. Crazy. And it's unacceptable. I'm sorry I'm getting loud, but I just don't like that. I don't like when people take advantage and think they can get away with it because they have money and power. No. When people work for someone and they put their blood and sweat and tears, you should pay them. That's the right thing to do. No one doesn't work free. And he just thought that, oh, you know, I'm just going to take advantage and do that. No. And now look what happened. Your ass is in jail. Prison, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? It's just not right. You know what I mean? The man can't even rap. He was a good producer or whatever. The man don't rap. Have you noticed, and that it didn't dawn on to me until now, he's in every freaking video. Day-to-Day Kane, Toto, B.I.G., who else the artist? Day 26. Every person that he signed, he's in every freaking video. Who does that? Who's in every freaking video? Him, because he wanted to be the spotlight. And I don't know why that was not evident to me to see that. Again, arrogance of him. You know what I mean? He wanted to be in a video of every single artist that he signed when he should be producing music. The man can't rap. Okay, he is not a rapper. And I thought he was, but he wasn't. It's just disgusting. Just the arrogance. And look, it's catching up to him. Okay, like I said, you can't just continue to hurt people and do dirty by people and thinking that you're just not going to deal with the consequences. Everyone needs to be held and be accountable for what you've done. You can't just be doing things and get away with it for over a decade and thinking that it's not going to creep up to you. And then you're just going to give all the praise and glory to God. Get serious. Don't do that. I hate when people do that. Oh, I give all the praise and glory to God. Thank you so much, God. But you continue to do bad things. God gives you so many chances. But when you continue to abuse God's chances, then he's going to bring it to the light and he is going to have you get down on yours and he's going to make you lose everything. Okay, God gives and God takes. Okay, that's what God do. And don't think that, oh, because God gave you everything and he's going to reward you. You get so many chances, okay, when your chances run out. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to take up your whole Sunday, you guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know, what do you think? Do you think that Sean Combs had anything to do with Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls' death? Let me know your thoughts about this. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching this channel. That's it. I really appreciate each and one of you. I love you all. Stay safe. God bless. Take care. And I will see you guys on Monday.